Hey everybody, how y'all doing? And welcome to the Focus on Greatness podcast. My name is Hiram Roche, and as always, it is an honor to be here with my Greatness tribe. As always, I'm excited. We have been on, I would say, a great journey of conversations that we have been having over these past couple episodes. That I have been getting some great feedback from in reference to just how it has been impacting the lives of the people of you, my greatness tribe, my audience, the ones that are rocking with me and listening to me. So I just want to say thank you. Thank you for everyone that watches the lives, everyone that listens to it on any podcast platform. And just want to say thank you, thank you, thank you. So let's do this. We're going to dive into this conversation on tonight where we want to continue. So on a last episode, we dealt with some things and dealt with this concept of being able to be created to create. And we tapped into also talking about our imagination. I believe that when we start looking at where we want to go futuristically, why future in our lives and future in our relationships and all aspects of our lives, we have to tap into the power of our imagination. We have to be able to look into and be able to look into deeply, I would use that word, the power of our imagination so that we can be able to imagine what we want so that we can start shaping where we want to go. So I want to be able to read a couple contexts of things. I know in the last episode, we started in the book of Genesis, and we read a couple verses in the book of Genesis, and I want to go ahead and just read those again, and then we'll tap into and talk about this concept of imagination. So in Genesis chapter 1, starting at verses 1, this is what it says. It says, "In the beginning, God created the heavens and the earth. And the earth was without form and void, and darkness was upon the face of the deep. And the Spirit of God moved upon the face of the waters. And God said, Let there be light. And there was light. And God saw the light, and it was good. And God divided the light from the darkness." Now, I'm going to stop here because what I believe is so importantly or powerful in this concept is that we're seeing in the beginning of this time period that God has basically started from scratch. There is nothing. There's darkness that has filled the earth. There is nothing there. Everything in this time, based upon what it says, is without form and void, and darkness was upon the face of the deep. So it's formless. It's empty. God basically starts with an empty canvas and he starts to create. Now, for us to be able to understand that concept is literally as if you started from scratch. If you started from scratch, started with nothing, or even in a place where you are wanting to build something and you don't know how to do it, or you don't have any materials or things to be able to work with, the first thing that you're going to have to tap into is your imagination. You're going to have to start imagining all the things that you'll be able to, that you want, how you want this to look, what you need for everything to be able to be a part of the process of what you see in this picture. And so it takes our imagination to be able to help us build or create the things that we want. So I want to read something. My dad the other day, me and him was talking on the phone, and he shared something with me. He reminded me of a book that I had read before, but that he when he talked about it and we were talking about it, it just jumped back on me. And it was funny because as soon as I went and got the book, looked at it, it took me to this page entitled Imagination. Now, the book is called Think and Grow Rich. I might go ahead and just put the link in the bio or in the description so that you can be able to get it for yourselves. I believe it's a great book for anybody to be able to read personally. And so in this book, again, in this specific chapter, it talks about imagination. I want to read in this intro of what he describes an imagination is, And then I'll read something else that he says, and then we'll kind of go from there. So this is what he says in the intro of the chapter of imagination. This is chapter, what is this? Chapter 6, page 89. This is what it says. It says, the imagination is literally the workshop wherein are fashioned um, all plans created by man. The impulse, the desire, is given shape, form, and action through the aid of the imaginative faculties of the mind. It has been said that man can create anything which he can imagine. Now, again, it's a powerful concept when we start looking at or tapping into our imagination. Let's be very clear and let's be kind of get some simplicity in this introduction of the conversation. Everything that we have currently, the cars that we drive, the phones that we use, the computers that we have, this mic that I'm speaking through, the lights that I'm using, the camera actually that I'm also using, all of these things that we have, from technology, from the way the building that you walk into when you go to work, from literally almost everything that you do on a day to day has been impacted by someone's imagination. Someone imagined something, and because of that imagination, they started to create, they started to play with those things, and in the creativity from the imagination, now we are able to enjoy, we're able to live in those different things, all starting from the concept or the power of the imagination. Now, I want to be able to read this other part, which is actually on the next page. I want to read this other part, which I think is also very interesting. He depicts that there are two forms of imagination. You have synthetic imagination and you have creative imagination. I want to be able to lean into the definition that he uses for creative imagination. Now, here it is. This is what it says. Through the faculties of creative imagination, the finite mind of man has direct communication with an infinite intelligence. I'm going to read this part one more time because I get excited here. Through the faculty of creative imagination, the finite mind of man has direct communication with the infinite intelligence. It is the faculty through which hunches or inspirations are received. It is by this faculty that all basic and new ideas are handed over to man. It is through the faculty that one individual may tune in and communicate with the subconscious mind of other men. Now, hear what he's writing or what he's saying in this context. When we go into our imagination, without trying to be too deep, when we go into our imagination takes us into another world. It takes us into another realm. It takes us into another place. And so in our imagination, we're able to go into a realm of where things are not created. Things are not physical. Let me use that word. They're not physical as of yet. They're not things that we have tangibly seen as of yet. So these things that are in another realm, we're able to tap into through our imagination. So this allows us, when we tap into our imagination, it allows us to be able to bring things from another realm, from another place into our world of what we live into. Because now we're able to not only see this thing, but we're now able to create the thing that we saw. Now, how does this go to your normal day-to-day life? The question that we have to start by asking ourselves is, when we are imagining, we're not just imagining. Are we just imagining things? No, we're not. I believe in our imagination, we're also able to get glimpses and pictures of how our relationships could be. I believe in our imaginations, we could be able to get glimpses and pictures of where we're supposed to be. Just say we're imagining some things in reference to our personal lives, like where do I want to go? Where do I want to be? How do I want to look? And as we are imagining, it gives us a glimpse of what our future can look like. This happens in our imagination. And so in our imagination, we're able to take the time to be able to build and create the things that we want for our personal lives. That comes from in reference to ideas for business, ideas that comes from how you want your marriage to be, that comes from how you want your relationship with your children to be, that comes from how you want to be personally, that comes from how you want to be at work, or how much money you want to make. All of these things start to come from the context of you tapping into your imagination. So if imagination is this powerful, then we have to make sure also that we understand that there is this thing called vain imagination. Now, vain imagination, according to what scripture shows us, and I'm going to pull it up now so we can be able to see, but vain imagination is imagination based upon scripture. It's imagination that goes against, that is contrary to what actually God wants for your life. I'm trying not to go too deep, but I guess we got to go there. Um, it's contrary to what God wants for your life. So in the book of Romans chapter 1, verses 21, it makes this statement. Let's go. Yeah, we'll just do this. Verse 20. For the invisible things of him from the creation of the world are clearly seen, being understood by the things that are made, even his eternal power and Godhead, so that they are without excuse. I'm gonna tap that in a minute. Hold on. Because of that, when they knew God, they glorified him not as God, neither were thankful, but because became vain in their imagination, and their foolish heart were darkened. Now let's break this context down. I want to be able to first talk about this first. Verse 20. Again, this is Romans chapter 1, verses 20 that I'm reading. It says this. It says, for the invisible things of him from the creation of the world are clearly seen. They're invisible things that are now created, that are clearly seen. They started in the imagination, in another realm, in another world. They were created and now are clearly seen, being understood by the things that are made, even his eternal power and Godhead, so that they are without excuse. Now, hear this. Everything that we create, one way or another, let's be very clear and honest, one way or another shows the power of God. Everything that we create, everything that we walk in, everything that we have, it shows the power of God. Let's look at it in this aspect. One of the things that this shows, everything that we use, from the technology that you're using currently to be able to watch this, it shows how powerful God is. Because in God's power, or his smarts, or his genius way of how he does what he does, he has created men that can create something like what you're watching. He created something that you're using currently to be able to listen to this. He was, his ingenious mind, the way that he built his creation, gave us the ability to be as smart as we are, where we are able to create the things that we are creating, all because he made in us, created in us, put in us this power called imagination. Now, again, this word vain, I want to actually pull up the definition so we can be able to see what this is, because I don't want to just say some words just to say some words. So Romans chapter 1 verses 21 makes the statement, because that when they knew God, they glorified him not as God, neither were thankful, but became vain in their imagination. So this word vain, that's what we want to be able to look at, this word vain, in their imagination. I'm gonna use this word foolish because I think that is it makes it powerful as well. But the word vain is to make empty, vain, or foolish. It's foolish imagination. Let's look at what Webster defined vain as we're looking at this word. So vain is having or showing undue or excessive pride in one appearance or achievement. I'm gonna just stop there. So vain imagination, let's just say it this way, vain imagination is where it's all about you. Like, okay, the only person that benefits from what you see in your imagination is you. Nobody else is helped. Nobody else is built up. Nobody else is developed. Nobody else is better because of what you see. And most importantly, God is not glorified by what you see. The only person that benefits from what you're seeing is you. Vain imagination. It doesn't glorify God. It's vain. It's prideful. It's foolish. It's selfish. Selfish, I would use the word selfish imagination. Because again, the only person that benefits from that type of imagination is you. But that's not people that are listening to this podcast, because the people that listen to this podcast are people that are greatness. They function and walk in their greatness. What is greatness? We've talked about this before. I'm gonna just say it again. Greatness for us is the ability to be able to serve well. So if greatness is the ability to be able to serve well, then that means we can't function, or we should not be functioning in vain imagination. That means the imagination that we're creating, or the imagination that we're tapping into to create something, is going to be beneficial to other people, not just me. So for example, when there's ideas, right, that I have, there's moments where I'm just sitting and I'm just imagining different things. In the posture of that imagination, or while I'm imagining those things, this is what helps me, where I'm creating or seeing this picture. All right, here's the picture. What's the big picture? What is the thing that I'm seeing in this imagination? Because it's your imagination, it is your mind, again, going into another place, another realm, that you're able to go into a place where you don't currently see the things that you're seeing. It's your imagination, right? So as you're going into this place, and I'm seeing this major picture that I'm seeing. I'm seeing this, just say, for example, let's just use, I'm seeing this building or this business concept. After I see this big business concept, then I see who the business helps. After I see this thing that I want for my sons, then I see who that impacts. When I see what I want for my marriage, then I see who that impacts. When I'm seeing how much money I want to make, then I'm seeing who that impacts. I'm not imagining for the purpose of me only benefiting from my imagination. So we need imagination, because everything, again, as I started, I'm going to get close to this end using this. Everything that has been created has been created from the posture first of someone's imagination for the benefit of helping others. For example, if someone would not have imagined how we can be able to move in transportation faster than your feet, we would still be walking and using horses. But because someone imagined, man, could we create something that would allow us to move faster, to get to destinations faster? Then it went from me walking to me riding a bike, not just riding a horse. Then it went from what if we can take that and put these same type of wheels, but put it on a block and put four wheels and allow the horse to carry it because the horse is faster than me riding my bike, and then I don't have to exert so much energy. Now others are able to benefit and get to their destination faster, and it keeps the imagination keeps building and developing, and now we are at a place where someone has set and took time and imagined what would it be to have vehicles that have no gas, they're electronic. And I promise you, there's going to be somebody that then imagines the next level of what that looks like. But it's because they're imagining how does this impact or help the people that are living in the place that I'm living in currently? How does this help everyone do what they're doing faster? How does it help everyone to be able to live safer? How does what I'm imagining, what I want to create, how does that impact the people that I'm using this gift and this skill and this power for? So my imagination helps me to create something that can be able to help others. Yes, do you benefit from it? Yes, you can benefit from it. That's not wrong for you to benefit from it. That's like you saying, "Hey, can I'm imagine that Imma be, at this level mentally, or Imma be at this level physically, or Imma be at this level financially," and you don't get nothing out of it. That part don't make sense. It's only vain when you're the only person that gets it. Like, this is all about you. This ain't got nothing to do with nobody else. You ain't trying to help nobody else but you. If I'm healthier, my wife benefits, my children benefit, those that I talk with, you benefit, my friends benefit, my family benefits. If I'm healthy, why do they benefit? They benefit because one, they benefit from whatever knowledge that I'm gaining in doing that. They benefit because I get to last longer. I get to live longer. I have the opportunity of being able to live longer and enjoy things that they are doing in their lives. So all of those things help. Yes, I get some form of benefit out of that because I'm healthier, but they also get something out of it because now, because I live longer, I get to impact longer. I get to be able to make an impact, a fingerprint. I get to be able to do what I do in reference to being greatness and serving others. I'm able to do that longer and more effective. So I get the opportunity to impact more, but it all starts with the concept of imagination. So this is what I want to be able to leave you with, and I want you to be able to do. As I know some of us will be wrapping up our day. You've spent time with your family, or you just relaxed, or whatever you did today. For those that were able to get off because of this holiday, I know you are preparing now to be able to go into your work week. And what I want you to do, though, is I want you to set time where you can just be still and take a piece of paper, your tablet, um, I would say take something that is not going to distract you. So that's why I said a piece of paper. Because normally, if I say you like your phone, as soon as you go on there and start typing what you see, sometimes depending on your personality, you can probably get easily distracted by your notifications, by, from different various of different things. But take some time and just be quiet, sit still, and just imagine. Take time. Don't rush it. Just take time. And what I want you to do is I want you to write down what you see. It's not, I'm not trying to ask you to do something perfect. It's not, this is not the concept. What I just want you to do is practice tapping into and utilizing your imagination. So I want you to take time, sit still, and just imagine. Take some time, because sometimes, because we haven't done this or because we don't function in this, we have a lot of other stuff that clutters our mind. What you need to do next, what's going on here, what happened here, what you didn't take care of, what you should have took care of, what you did, like all these things. So take time and allow your mind to relax, and then allow your mind to do what it's created to do, and that's to imagine. And as it imagines, just write down what you see. Just write it down. And after you're done imagining, after you're done writing it down, I want you to look at it. If it don't make sense, try to make some sense of it. Try to put something together and make some sense of it, even if you got to rewrite it. But try to make some sense of it. And then I want you to take some time after that and say, man, how can I create this? Who am I creating this for? And let's see how your imagination can impact somebody's life. I love you all. And as always, I'm grateful to be able to have the opportunity to speak with you right here on the Focus on Greatness podcast. Love you all and see you next time. Bye bye.